Welcome back, everybody. It's your buddy Orange Hat here to tell you about the Acolyte trailer and how it came out. And, stealing from Harry Potter, trying to get everybody to ask certain questions and whatnot. So let's get into this. This is from Bounding Into Comics. Shout out to them. Acolyte showrunner Leslye Headland says upcoming Star Wars series will ask whether the bad guys are actually the underdogs. So, let's get into this. In further confirming the franchise's current Shepherd's view, it has nothing more than a vehicle for their own fan fictions. The Acolyte showrunner Leslye Headland has revealed that rather than tell a clearly defined morality tale between the Jedi and Sith, the upcoming Star Wars television series will ask fans whether the bad guys are actually the underdog. Speaking with Star Wars on March 19th, .com on March 19th, following the world premiere of Acolyte's first trailer, that trailer that was actually leaked last year, Headland explained that the High Republic era set series will focus on the question of how the Jedi Order, at the height of their prestige, power, and influence, could crumble so drastically as to be in the scattered state they are throughout the Skywalker saga. Really? You are besmirching the Jedi. Whatever. I mean, not gonna not pretend that the Disney trilogy didn't do the same, but yeah. If Star Wars is about the underdog versus the institution in the Acolyte, the Jedi are the institution. So she's villainizing the Jedi. The showrunner explained, I was so interested in a storyline where the Jedi were at the height of their power, and I don't mean the Phantom Menace, because at that point there's a Sith Lord in the Senate, and they're not picking up on. Well, if Leslye Headland knew as much as she thinks she does about Star Wars, she would know why they didn't pick up on it. In the show, I wanted the Sith to be a thing I've heard of, but it's not a thing you would ever consider you'd be interacting with. Oh, you mean like Palpatine in the prequel trilogy. To this end, Headland asserted a fundamental question at the core of the series story. What went wrong? What if the bad guys are actually the underdog? It just seemed like a cool reversal. So the Sith are the good guys trying to bring order to the galaxy, and the Jedi are evil, trying to maintain balance in the Force. Notably, Headland's comments are not the first time a member of the Acolyte's production has hinted that the series will stand yet another instance of Disney's subverting the franchise's overall identity. During February 2024 interview with C Magazine, the series star Amandla Stenberg said to its premise, in the context of the Star Wars universe, it's a time of great peace, theoretically. It's also a time of an institution, and it's a time in which conceptions around the Force are very strict. And I think that we're trying to explore within our show is when an institution has a singular conception of how power can be used. We try to prove a lot of different perspectives and answers to that question. The idea is to kind of honor the ethos of Star Wars idea around the Force, and also challenge them, hopefully harmoniously. There have been many Force societies, folks. They've all had their own preconceptions about the Force. The Sith and the Jedis are very well known. The Sith rely on their passion, and they use that passion to drive themselves. And the Jedi feel that emotion, or without emotion, there can be peace. Or to not be guided by your emotions when being lawful can work to your advantage. You cannot guide people and lead people if you are driven by your emotions, because that will make you unstable. That will make you unbalanced. And that is why law and order is not supposed to ever be guided by emotions. The Jedi understood this. The Sith did not. So, it seems she doesn't understand this. Yet, despite Disney's continued insistence of the morality of Star Wars should be less black and white and more gray, a turn more and more productions have made in recent years, Hollywood continues to try to emulate the breakout across Game of Thrones. It should be mentioned by George Lucas himself specifically created the franchise to tell a very clear-cut good and evil story. So yeah, they're going against George Lucas in this. Reflecting on the franchise's development during a 2017 interview with media production company Goalcast, the filmmaker asserted, "The secret ultimately, which is the bottom line in Star Wars and other movies, is there are two kinds of people in the world, compassionate people and selfish people. Selfish people live on the dark side," he explained. "The compassionate people live on the light side. If you go to the side of the light, you will be happy because compassion, helping other people, not thinking about yourself, thinking about others, that gives you a joy that you can't get any other way. Being selfish, following your pleasures, always entertaining yourself with pleasure, and buying things and doing stuff, you're always going to be unhappy. You'll never get to the point. You'll get this little instant shot of pleasure, but it goes away, and then you're stuck where you were before. The more you do it, the worse it gets. You finally get everything you want, and you're miserable because there's nothing at the end of the road. Whereas if you are compassionate and you get to the end of the road, you've helped so many people." That is a perfect explanation of the Force and the Jedi and Sith. Unless anyone, in light of the 40-year gap between when he made Star Wars A New Hope and gave his above comment run to accuse Lucas's statement of revisionism, his intent for the galaxy far, far away was so clear that even his actors were able to pick up on it, touching upon his experience working with Alec Guinness in the original film for the 2004 documentary Empire of Dreams, the Star Wars trilogy. Star Wars icon Mark Hamill required, "He was the person who sort of brought it some legitimacy. And I asked him why he wanted to do it, and he loved the idea of playing a mentor or a wizard in a morality play where good and evil are so clearly defined." As of writing, The Acolyte is currently set to lightsaber slash its way onto Disney Plus on June 4th, 2024. So yeah, Leslye Headland is basically saying that, well, the Sith think they're the good guys, and maybe the Jedi weren't all that good. There's just one problem. This whole show endangers the continuity. Because if this show has the Jedi interacting with Sith Lords, and these Sith Lords are, or the Sith Lords had better kill all the Jedi before they can report to the Council. I mean, there was a protocol, folks. There was a protocol that was known to fans that if a Jedi ever encountered a Sith Lord, their first immediate response was to either eliminate the threat or escape if the threat is too powerful. And their first order is to get some sort of communication to the Jedi Order that the Sith have returned. We saw this in practice in Episode 1 with Qui-Gon Jinn. He fought Darth Maul on Tatooine, and he barely escaped with his life. When he got to Coruscant, the first thing he did was tell the Chancellor, I need to speak with the Jedi Council immediately. The situation has become far more complicated. And the first thing he then debriefed the Jedi Council with his conclusions that the person he fought was a Sith Lord. Now, while the Jedi Council didn't initially believe him, it took his death and another battle with him, or with Darth Maul, to confirm that it indeed was a Sith Lord. And that there's another Sith Lord out there somewhere, because there are only two. A master and an apprentice. Thanks to the fact that they had a Darth Bane's holocron, or a clever forgery of it. So, yeah, if this show does any sort of fuckery in which the Jedi encounters a Sith Lord and manages to escape, and don't freaking tell the Council about it, you've destroyed the entire continuity of Star Wars. Because it would then change the dynamic of what happened in the Jedi Council. Well, my only conclusion would be that it was a Sith Lord. And instead of Ki-Adi-Mundi saying impossible, the Sith have been extinct for a millennium, they would have to be like, well, yeah, we had that problem a couple hundred years ago. Apparently, yeah, we had a Sith Lord, and yeah, we must have forgotten about it. This show, they better be thinking about things like Episode 1. Because if they're not, they're going to fuck it up. And just because you got the flashy force and the lightsabers and whatnot does not mean this is going to be any good. I have been a Star Wars since I was a fan since I was 2 years old. And folks, I have read the books. I've learned the continuity. Both sides of the continuity. I've been paying attention to Disney's side as well. And the more I see Disney's destructive efforts of continuity, which are non-existent but still yet destructive, the more I see that they have absolutely no idea how to handle this. Anyway, folks, that is going to be the video. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think of this article? What do you think of Leslye Headland's statements that the Sith are the underdogs and that the Jedi is the evil institution? Let me know your thoughts, folks. This has been Or Chat. Y'all have a wonderful day. Stay humble.